Okay, so in this video, I'm going to explain to you the difference between an AI automation and an AI agent, right? Because they're not the same thing. Whilst they can both complete tasks or help you with the repetitive things, they're slightly different, and I think it's important to understand the difference between the two. So, the first thing we want to do here is we want to answer this question, and it's, what is an automation? Because for us to actually grasp the concept, we need to understand what an automation is or how it works, right? And I'm going to lay it out for you in the simplest way that I can so you can wrap your head around it. So every automation is basically a series of steps, okay? So it'll be like step 1, step 2, step 3. And it's usually a response to something. Meaning, for this to fire off in the way that it would, something has to happen. Something has to occur for this to fire off in that way. That thing that's got to occur, we call that a trigger. Okay? Meaning something happened and it caused this to fire off. Right? We refer to it as like an if this then that type concept. I'll just make it a bit bigger. Let's just make this a bit easier to I'll make this, send that to the back. Done. So what is an automation? An automation is a series of steps that's usually fired off by a trigger. For example, someone registers to an event. Because they registered, the trigger gets fired. In this case, the trigger might be form filled, the trigger might be email received, the trigger might be tag added, the trigger might be product purchased, right? It's something happened, and because that thing happened, we're going to set off a series of steps because of it. That's the first thing you need to understand, okay? And then the steps can be whatever you want. It's anything that can be automatically duplicated over and over. So it might be email, receipt, send SMS confirmation, and then you might have an internal notification, right? So it's going to let the team know that there's been a sale or someone's registered or whatever it might be. Right, that's what it looks like overall from a basic automation standpoint. You can have as many steps as you want, but they always need something that's going to trigger it off. And then it's like, if this, then that. So this happened, now let's do these things. Okay? Now, an AI automation, so if we make this an AI automation, the difference is one of the steps, so let's say, for example, in this case, we're going to say step 2 might have something different added to it. Okay? When I say that, what I mean is, the step is an AI step, meaning it has some form of AI function in between. Like it might utilize ChatGPT to create a summary of what was in the email. Or it might utilize any type of LLM or a particular tool to make something happen before the next step. Okay? That's the difference between an automation. An automation is like if this then that, it's all conditional, there is no reasoning. With an AI automation, you're utilizing an external AI tool like ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that to have some form of AI step in amongst it all. Now, the difference between this and AI agent, okay? So I'm going to ask the question, what is an AI agent? Because they're not the same. The difference between this and an AI agent is, so see how this works in a linear fashion? Like it has to go this, then that, then that, then that. The agent itself has the ability to decide what's next. You know what I mean? So it understands what's information it's received and says, okay, cool, based on this information, I'm going to make this decision. There's a couple of things that an AI agent must have for it to work effectively. Okay, so it's got to have a brain or an LLM. So you got to have connected it to something that gives it the ability to reason. That's the first thing. It needs to be connected to a ChatGPT, a Claude, something like that, right? The second thing it needs is it needs tools. So you need to connect it to your CRM system, or you need to connect it to some type. You can connect it to anything. You can connect it to your email system. You can connect it to your database. You can connect it to your Slack. You can connect it to anything, a phone system, right? You can connect to anything where you want it to be able to go and utilize that particular tool for that aspect. Another thing it needs is it needs a memory. I want you to think of AI agents like this, right? The same way you would train an employee to do a set of actions. You don't just tell the employee to come into work and be like, work it out. You know, I'm not going to tell you who we are or how we do things. You provide them instructions, right? If you're a good business, you should provide them with an employee handbook. You should provide them with guidelines. You should explain to them how we do what we do and who we are and what we stand for and so forth. This is everything you put in the memory. Okay, so an AI agent doesn't have to, but should have a memory because you want it to be able to know who you are and what you're doing. And also recall previous actions it's done. So if you set this up properly, you set it up so that the AI agent recall what's happening and recall that it spoke to this person previously, etc. Right? Because it's all stored in memory. And then the last one, but not the least, is identity. Right? And I say that in the sense of we got to explain to the agent who they are. So the same way you prompt ChatGPT or any form of LLM you speak to, you need to set internal prompts, like system level prompts and user level prompts, to explain to the agent who you are, right? Imagine you got a job and you walked into your job on your first day and they said, cool, sit down and do some work. And then you'd be like, well, hold on, like, what's my role? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what tools do I have access to? You need some form of instruction. This is the exact same thing. So with the agent, we want to be able to utilize these 1, 2, 3, 4 things and set them up so that the agent can do its job, right? Because then once we do this and we've got all this set up properly, we've now built an agent that has the capability to remember stuff, reason, use a bunch of tools, and knows who it is, okay? And then what we want to do is we want to set up triggers prior to it. The difference between this is a trigger happens, like a form gets filled, and then step 1 happens, step 2 happens, step 3 happens. Even though step 2 is involving AI, in this case, you might have something like, cool, so the trigger happens, and then the trigger might speak directly to the agent. So it's like, cool, a form got filled, and then the AI agent looks at it, and the form has been filled, and it's like, okay, cool, well, this form was filled, I can consume this information based on everything I've been able to think about, and what I know, I'm going to go and utilize the email tool to send them a confirmation, or I'm going to go and do this to do that next thing. You know what I mean? And it uses the ability to reason instead of just following the steps, like 1, 2, 3. You know, like it's like they do the same thing over and over again, regardless of what happened before and after. They don't take any of that into account. They just do the next step. And it's like, oh, I thought when they come in, we do this. And it's like, no, you don't do that if they didn't pay. Right? This is like a smarter employee or a more senior employee who has some level of experience and can think and says, okay, cool, we only do this when this happens, etc. Or they said this, so for me to go and provide them with whatever I need to provide them or email them or whatever, I need this information, blah, 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 right? And it works out what the next best step is. And then there's usually some form of output. Usually, not always. Actually, I'll put it on this one. Get rid of that. And then there's usually some form of output, and it might be like reporting back to let you know that this has been done. It might be, the output might be the final thing it says to the person, but there's usually some form of output, and that's how an AI agent works, right? So that's the difference between automation, which is a series of steps. So person goes from this to this to this to this, as opposed to an AI agent, which is, cool, this thing happened that's going to make me fire off, and now I'm going to take that information from whatever's happened, think about it, understand who I am, what my role is, what tools I have access to, what's happened previously, and make a decision based on that. The trigger aspect can be anything. The thing firing off because of a trigger doesn't have to be any of these 4 things. It could be time. You could be like, cool, every day at 8 a.m. I want you to do this thing. And you got to think about it like this. As humans, we do this anyway. You know what I mean? We just don't pay attention to how we do it. So it's like most of the time you're doing stuff, you're reacting to something. You're doing that one thing because someone said something, or you got an email, or it was 11 o'clock and at 11 o'clock you have to do this one thing, or it was lunchtime so I'm going to go eat, or someone called my phone, or someone walked into my office. This is the exact same thing. We just need to understand it and be able to lay it out more clearly to understand, okay, cool, you do this when this happens, so I need you to do this. And the same way you train a human, you train the agent. Okay, the same way you train a human, you train the agent. And you can use different models up here. So you can use different brains, you can use ChatGPT, you can use the O4 Mini, O3, whatever you want that's going to work for you. 4.5, you can use Claude. Different ones will give you different advantages. It's like having an employee who's good at this and another one who's good at that, right? And understanding who's good at what and what you can give people. The tools, you give them access to all the tools, but the trigger can be set based on anything you want. The whole thing we want is anything we do repeatedly, where it's like, hey, every single day I'm jumping in and I'm doing this thing at the same time every single day. And it's like, cool, like, is this something we can train an agent to do so that you don't have to do it anymore? So that we can set this up. It's like hiring a new person and training them how to do their role, right? It's like you can set this up and it just happens like clockwork every single time. And yes, do you need to check on them? Yes. Do you need to check on your real employees? Yes. Do you need to make sure that the work they're doing is okay and ensure that they've got ongoing training and correct them when it's wrong? Yes. Do you need to do that with real employees? Yes. Do AI agents take annual leave? No. Do real employees? Yes. Do AI agents take sick leave? No. No sick leave, no annual leave, no HR, no nothing. Simply just an automated system built into your digital world that can do repeatable tasks over and over again at a fraction of the cost of what it costs you to get an employee to do. Okay? Now that you can grasp the concept between a basic automation, an AI automation, and an AI agent, you can start to understand how you can actually utilize this in your business. I hope that's given you a clear understanding of the difference between an AI agent and an AI automation. Neither is better or worse. Let's be clear. Sometimes you have this employee for that task and that employee for that task. This is the exact same thing. Neither is better or worse. Of course, you want agents every single time, ideally. But sometimes it's as simple as an automation will complete the task. And it's like, cool, I can set up an AI automation and that task happens now and I don't have to do it. Okay? The best part about this is once you have one agent, you have an agent that specializes in a particular thing, right? The same way when you build a big business, you don't have one employee that comes in and does 400 things. You have an employee that comes in and focuses on copywriting or marketing or ads or, you know, project management or coordination or whatever it might be, right? Management, CEO, CFO, blah, blah, blah. This is the exact same thing. So the same way you get this agent, and then you can do that over and over and over again so that you get to the point where you have a team of agents all to look something like this, right? So imagine now you have a team of agents that all report to a master agent. And it's like, that's the new workflow now. And then you've got this master agent built into this flow. And then they have access to all of these agents as different tools. Because an agent's a tool, right? So you build that out. And then all of a sudden you've got an agent that can do all of these things with all these other agents working under him. And then your job's just to manage the agents. It'll completely change the way you do everything in your business. If you want to learn more about how you can do this in your business, we've got a free school group where we're showing everyone how they can do this in their business. It's 100% free. I'm going to pop the link in below. But as you can see, guys, building something like this into your business or into your day-to-day life, right? If you have personal stuff that you're like, I don't want to do this admin stuff. Building systems like this into your life can completely change the way you do everything and save you so much time. I'm going to pop the link in below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.